You're watching a clip from the Club podcast.
Make sure you follow it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give it a 5-star review.
So here you go. Here's a lovely clip from our podcast. To be fair, how do you feel about Youri Tielemans signing for your club?
Youri Tielemans, incredible free transfer. People might laugh at me when I say this, but I don't think he starts for us on current form. Emery has
You've got Douglas Luiz,
Dougie Luiz in the middle alongside Kamara. Amazing rotation option. No. And if he I say that, but if he gets back to Tielemans from 18 months ago, he'll start to get into this.
You know what I think a big thing is of the last 12 months? He's known he's leaving for free. He's got let's say, a 10 million signing on fee coming from Villa, plus they're paying him 50 grand extra a week. He don't want to get injured. Do you know what I mean? Like, really injured. That's how I think these people think. They totally get it. Like, that could cost you.
I've seen some videos, sir. Have you seen the videos of him tracking back?
Yeah,
it's not great, but I do think if you isolate videos, you can probably catch a lot of players doing that when they're 2-3-0 down and they kind of give it up a little bit. I think he's a good signing. I reckon it saves the money for where we really need to. A lot of talk about Villa trying to push on and repeat what Newcastle have done. So we need a lot of reinforcements on the right. Need a right back. That's why we need.
You got wealthy owners though, innit?
Apparently,
can they?
Yeah, third, fourth richest owners in the league have wanted to spend, but the problem has been this is our first time finishing in the top half in a decade. So we've been throwing money at. We got Coutinho in a little bit past his best. We got Luca Dean in for massive wages, a little bit past his best. Tried to get Basuma, tried to get a few other big names, and they just won't come. And it's hard to convince players to come to a project when you can't get in the top 10.
And are you feeling good about next year?
So
Conference
since Emery came in, we have less points than only Man City and Arsenal. We're in an incredible position. The turnaround versus what Stevie G did has been sensational. I think he's an incredible manager. I don't think I've ever seen a better manager at Aston Villa. But Liverpool had a shocking season. Chelsea simply cannot be worse. Newcastle are going to spend more. We finished 7 this year, maybe with Brighton losing. It looks like McAllister's gone. Casado's been linked away. The top 6 could be on the cards. And if we get, I'd say 2 starters to our starting 11, not like 6-7 new players. That's not realistic. But if we got Tielemans in plus like a new right back, a new right winger, I think we could really be about there. There's no reason why not. But the top 6 in the Premier League, when all the big teams are on it, it's a really, really big ask.
Because you don't even include Newcastle in that, do you? Like, you know, when you say Newcastle, the top 6, you don't really, so it's 7.
Yeah, and Newcastle are going to be part of that now.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they're going to go. I think
Villa have got the manager that's set up for Europe, though. Look, Eddie Howe's a bit of an unknown at the moment in Europe. We haven't been able to judge him. Plus, I think we're looking at a different Eddie Howe to who he was at Bournemouth, so it's hard to.
Emery's one of the best managers in the league, 100%.
I'd say
Emery at Chelsea,
one of the favourites for that competition. Now.
I thought he was incredibly disrespected when he was at Arsenal. Like, if you think about the time and love that Arsenal fans have given Mikel Arteta, they were very harsh on Unai Emery. Unai Emery had that club 5th in the league and in a European final. He left; they finished 8th twice.
Yeah.
They weren't hounding out. They were hounding out Emery. I don't know why, but then with Arteta, 8th twice was fine.
Tough gig to follow the legacy manager. Moyes didn't have a chance. I don't think Emery had a big chance following.
I also
Wenger.
think, I agree with Rory, so this isn't me disagreeing with him. But I think, how when you had, I don't think Rafa Benitez was the fair choice because he just didn't get on with the Chelsea fans. I'm trying to think of a manager at Chelsea where the style of football didn't fit in with fans.
Sarri didn't work at all.
Sorry,
I think Emery was there. Sarri isn't a bad manager.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
Sarri's an excellent manager.
Yeah,
Sarri's an excellent manager. But yeah, look, if we get the signings correct, we're getting linked with some big names, and it's so hard for me as an Aston Villa fan who's watched us down in the Championship not too long ago to imagine.
You've got Youri Tielemans obviously coming in.
Yeah.
You've been linked with Harry Maguire, etc. Aymeric Laporte has been madly
the signings that
Diego Carlos is coming back. Do you think he's gonna?
It's hard to say. He was
huge injury, wasn't it,
at Seville? But you've seen it with Van Dijk when you rupture the ligaments when you're pushing wrong side of 30. It can be very problematic. But I don't know. He's an unknown quantity. He had a couple of cameos where he was pinging the ball around, and it was like He was a big step up in terms of passing ability from Mings and Konza, but they have both been very, very solid since Emery came in. I reckon the signings I would love, and obviously I'm not in charge. I don't want Maguire, not because nothing to do with like slagging off Maguire. That's easy to do. I don't want.
It is really easy.
I don't want even Laporte, because I don't want players that feel like they're taking a step down. Like Tielemans, I would imagine, he's just been relegated. It might not be where he thought he'd get 18 months ago, but it's a step up from where he is, and he has a point to prove, and he's going to be hungry. We were linked very hard with Asensio from Real Madrid, and he's obviously, it's a step up from where we're at, right? He's an amazing player. But if he's coming to Aston Villa, he feels like, I
think Emery's an equaliser in a sense.
Do you think you don't think he allows that to creep in?
Especially you're in Europe and Emery's speaking to these players going, I've got this plan, that plan.
Yeah, we'll be in the Champions League. Is a conversation.
You've also
Remember,
got the likes of Coutinho's already there, Carlos is already there. You've got some big names.
The Champions League is down to 5th. If the league started when Emery took over, you would have been 3rd.
Yeah, incredible.
But when you say that, though, don't you feel that his job at Villa's gone under the radar?
Massively.
Like, because he doesn't. I remember he did one overlap, for example. No one mentioned Villa.
I'm pretty sure now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he got the same amount.
Foden's on. De Bruyne's on.
Oh, he's gone.
Sorry.
Confirmed. No, way more important to actually call it.
Yeah, the change is made.
Tell you one thing: Phil Foden's an absolutely unbelievable player to be bringing on. I think Phil Foden's so underrated.
He is, but he's not De Bruyne.
So everyone talks about the Zebri from Brighton, and rightly so. The football he plays, the way Guardiola waxes lyrical about him, he's changing the kind of way you allow people to come onto you with a press. But
this is good.
The boys are like, I don't care about Villa.
No, I
don't mean it like that. I just mean that this is so important for you guys. I can see there has been no belief, right? Adam has just come in here accepting his fate, and look at him getting nervous.
I think this makes City even more favourites now.
I think he's got the same amount of points as Brighton did in much less games, and he doesn't really get talked about in the same way. But if we fly under the radar and we can make a couple of signings and there's not the same pressure at the start of the season,
you know what helps Villa as well? The fact he's already been to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Emery. So now no one's going to be like, Arsenal, United, Spurs should get him, because that test has already failed. So like, he's your manager now for the foreseeable. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does more ways and get to the Conference League.
That.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's so hard in the modern era to have a manager for 10 years, but like...
Right. 3 signings you'd have to make after Tielemans. Who would they be? Or what position would they be?
Right back, right midfielder. I would love Dumfries. If it's a step beyond us, fair enough. I would love Wan-Bissaka. Right wing, there's been a lot of talk of Harvey Barnes.
Could get him for cheap.
Wouldn't say no. Do you know who I like? A little bit less. It's very UK based, but like Jack Harrison from Leeds. I think he's a very, very good player. He plays left wing, but I think he could play right wing. And then someone to support Ollie Watkins.